Hello friends, myself Shriram Korde. Let's start with an important topic and that is strings. Strings happens to be a very important topic not just with respect to C but otherwise also in several other scripting languages as well as when you deal with other programming languages, and so also when you interact with databases then essentially you need to deal with strings. A simple example can be like several string information we typically enter when we add a contact, say in our Android mobile phones. So there are several such examples. The point I'm just trying to make it is string support plays a very important role in any particular language, and so also in C. So let's get going now. So when we talk about strings, typically people consider it as a group of characters. So that thought process at the top level is okay. However, we need to now dwell more into those details and we need to understand it. So the way in which we typically will have a array. So the way in which we have done earlier, say int arr, and say I want to have an array of size say 10 or 5, whatever. So basically what we used to do is we used to have array 5, and then we would provide with some numbers like this. Okay, let me just put some numbers here, and so some numbers I have put. So what essentially I have done is I have basically created an array which is of integer data type and it can hold 5 integers. Okay, so that is what we have seen. So on the similar lines, now I can create a character array and it can hold characters. So let's see now, suppose if I just create a character array and let me give say the name of that array basically is CARR. Okay, just to make it simple. So like a character array, and let's say I give it here 5. Okay, then what should I do to initialize it is like once again I will have a curly bracket, and then in the quotes I will use say a, I will use say in the again in the quotes I will use B, then I will use in the single quotes I will use C, then say I can have small d, whatever, it's your decision how you want to initialize it. Okay, and then say E, like that. Now again here when I have given all these things, so here what I have done is I have basically created a array and which is of the type character. So this is essentially a character array. Okay, now is this a string? No, this is not a string. That means the important point what we are now trying to tell is basically just a group of characters doesn't make a string. I could have given here some useful information or useful name. Probably I could have given some say city name. Now city name could be say for example I want to give it or say country name. Then I could just give it just to keep it simple. I will just give say J, then A, then say I'll say P, then A, and then N. So it could be a country named Japan. Now, do I need to keep on creating like this? And if I create, then essentially it's just a group of characters. I could always do away with this number. Why? Because then and there itself I'm initializing. Otherwise, as you know, the way in which we used to follow in integer arrays, similar basically principles are applicable here also. So this is just a character array and essentially it is not a string. So this is not a string. So how do I basically now make it a string? So the way in which I would now like do it is basically there will be a one more character and that character essentially will be backslash 0. This will be backslash 0. This is very important. So now the moment I have this backslash 0, so let me just copy this here. Okay, and I'll just name this as say str just for the sake of naming it. Okay, so now this particular thing is ended with backslash 0. So then this particular thing becomes a string. That means a character array which ends in a backslash 0 essentially becomes a string. Now I require this type of giving the characters and always giving it like in the form of individual characters so that a string can be formed. Now this basically becomes a very irritating. However, I can always print this string whatever I just have created a str array. I just have made it short form for string. So str array, and I could just print it using say printf, and then I can have percentage s. The way in which we use percentage d to print a character, I can have percentage s, and then I can pass this basically the str. Now there is a string support, and that's why I am not passing str of 0, str of 1, str of 2, and it has the ability to print the complete string. So now you can see Japan got printed. You can see this here, Japan got printed. Now that means a character array which ends with the backslash 0 is a string. So that's a fundamental definition with respect to the string. Now having basically seen this, now many people get confused, though I have tried to basically take it as one problem as part of printing the ASCII characters, but many people get this particular knowledge like whether it is backslash 0. So is it 0 or is it why don't you just keep 0? So let's try to basically do that small exercise so that the clarity can come. Okay, so here I can just use printf, and I can do here percentage d, okay, percentage d and then percentage c, okay, and I will do it here for backslash 0 and backslash 0. So I'm just printing this backslash 0. Okay, so we know now it is going to print Japan, so that's not an issue. Okay, so you will see this Japan 0 has got printed. Okay, so let me just give a printf here, and I can just give next line. Now if I just basically run this, you can see the 0 got printed. Okay, now that means if I just use now the 0 here, okay, if I would have used here 0 and percentage c 0, now see the difference, 0 0. It didn't print anything when I was using backslash 0. So let me just once again do it. I'll do it once again here. Okay, and here I will now give backslash 0. This is backslash 0. That is what I just did. Okay, and let me put here slash n. Okay, so that it goes to the next line. Let's run it. Now we'll see what happened. Japan, no issues. Japan got printed. That we now know. Here there is nothing after backslash 0 here. Why? So that means the backslash 0 is not basically what you are getting is a null. Okay, here it is null, and here what basically got printed here is 0 and 0. That means when I do this, suppose if I now have done it here, this now, and let's now run this, you will see this 48. Now you can see the difference what I am trying to tell you. So the main thing is the backslash 0 is what basically terminates the string, and that's why we use backslash 0 so that we can check the value of backslash 0. The ASCII value of backslash 0 essentially is 0. That is the important thing, and the ASCII value of 0 digit is basically 48. So that's why all these string support, which essentially is part of C, and then obviously other languages, as I have mentioned to you earlier, plays a very important role. Now, because string plays a very important role, and that's why the backslash 0 now is inherent part of it, so there has to be a better way to deal with it, because I can't keep on giving JAPAN like this, because if I have to give a lengthy string, say I want to talk about say my full name or my complete name, or even for that matter say I want to tell the city, then the complete address and the pin code, and the apartment number and so many things, okay, then in that case it will become too difficult for me to keep on giving it in a character way. That means I should have a better way to do that. So what should I do now? So let me just have another here character, and let me just give the new str. I'll just give the name as new and capital str, new string, and I will just put it here in the, and now I don't have to basically use this curly bracket and all that. Why? Because there is an inherent support in C language, okay, and then using double quotes, and I can do whatever I would like to do. So suppose if I want to just put here some city name, say Bangalore, okay, and it's a big address, say 50 Bangalore, then Airport Road, Bangalore, and say Karnataka, it's one of the state in India, and then I'll just say India. Okay, if this is such a big thing I want to give, then essentially I can't keep on giving it character and character. That's why this double quote support is inherent, and directly what it is going to do is it is internally going to convert it into character array, and it is going to end with backslash 0. Now we can just print it. So let me just print this new str. So let me copy these two things. Okay, this should be above, and we will print this new str. Okay, and let's see this how it works. You can see this 50 Airport Road, Bangalore, Karnataka has come. That's the beauty, and that is why we call it as the inherent support, which is part of C compiler, where you can directly deal with strings and you can basically print it. If I would have tried to print say CARR, then I don't have a guarantee that it is going to really print everything like this. There is a chance that basically it may print correctly. Yes, you may say that it is printing correctly probably, but it is no guarantee. Why? Because the last terminating character internally printf uses, or for that matter there are other support functions which we will learn later, they basically rely on backslash 0. So suppose if I try to say print CARR, okay, instead of this I would have tried, instead of this str, let me just comment out, or probably we can have CARR also, we can just get it printed. So let me just print here CARR, and now it may work, it may not work. Okay, so you may say that it's working right now, but it may not work correctly every time. Okay, so that's the beauty with respect to that's the thing. So let me just uncomment it and see ARR. Okay, so let's try this. Let's see what happens. Yeah, you will see this crap has come, something. You can see this very clearly. Let me just focus it properly, and you can see this. Japan correctly has come. Then obviously this was our experiment where I explained to you about backslash zeros ASCII value, and then ASCII value of digit 0. So that was 48. Then we printed this big address like whatever 50 Airport Road, so that came correctly, and after that I printed CARR. Now CARR doesn't have backslash 0, and because of that backslash there is no backslash 0, so it printed some garbage. It doesn't know how to end it, and so it just ended it. Later it may, in your case, there is a chance that it may print some more characters. You never know what it will print properly or improperly rather. So if I just put it here, say backslash 0, okay, to this CAR, and let me just try this. And now if I run CARR, now I have forcefully terminated. You see, Japan has come properly. There is no garbage later after Japan. So the important learning is that backslash zero is a very important thing, and that's why we have this explicit video to help you understand what is the difference between a character array, which is not a string, and what is a string. That means it ends in backslash zero. However, nobody uses this approach of giving each character by character. Why? Because we always will use string to give our name, your surname, probably your address, probably your email addresses, and then work description and whatever, so many things. So you can't keep on giving these things in a single quotes and each character and character. That's why we need to have a strong C string support, and that's there in C. So in further videos we will learn more about it. Thank you.